Hello, my name is John, and today we're in the cockpit of the Mirage 2000 for the very first time on this channel. And in this video, we'll take a look at the cockpit of the aircraft. We will talk about some of the instruments, and after that, we will do a startup of the aircraft to see how to get it from cold and dark, as it is in right now, to up and running. Anyway, let's get started. Let's start with the most important stuff, just directly ahead of us. Obviously, basically directly in our face is the heads-up display with its controls located at the bottom of it. Below that we have the radar screen, and this kind of separates the cockpit into left and right, I guess. Anyway, on the left side, starting from the top, we have the angle of attack indicator, as well as the master caution light, which we can press down to silence warnings, which we will do in a moment. And below that we have the primary artifactual horizon and the backup artifactual horizon. We have the altimeter, the vertical speed indicator, as well as the airspeed indicator. Next to that we have some autopilot controls, where you can select different autopilot modes, and on this selector down here you can input a altitude for the autopilot to hold, if you so want to. Then below that we have the master weapon control panel, or the main weapon control panel, where we can select the different weapon pilots and stuff like that. More about that in a later video. Then continuing to the left we have our clock, as well as the countermeasures system, I guess, and we can see the chaff and flare count in this display once it's turned on. Below that we have the gear controls. Let me zoom in a bit so we can see that a bit better. We have the gear controls, as well as some controls for the fly-by-wire system. Then we have some radio channel selectors, light selectors for landing and navigation lights and so on. Some miscellaneous selectors, for example the automatic slats or the air intakes. We can turn on and off that stuff right here. Then we have the radar control panel, where we can select different radar modes and move the radar and stuff like that, as well as the throttle obviously. Behind that we have the audio control panel, as well as some test functions for the fly-by-wire system, as well as some disconnect switches which are not implemented yet. Some stuff of the aircraft is, unfortunately. Anyway, if we turn over to the other side, we will start up in the top right here with the G-load meter. Below that we have the radar warning receiver. Next to that we have the engine indicators, featuring the N1 indicator up here, and below that the temperature indicator. And above here is very handy the afterburner light, so you can see when you're in afterburner mode or if you're not. Then here you have a digital fuel consumption indicator per minute, and below that we have the total fuel on board indicator. Then we have a horizontal situation indicator below that. Continuing towards the right here, we have the master warning panel, I guess, with some electrical control switches above it, including the master battery switch, some bus transfer switches, as well as alternator switches. Continuing further downwards, we have the INS system, which is used for navigation on this aircraft. More on that on a later video as well. Then we have some more INS related stuff, as well as some mode selectors for that, some more navigation selectors for VOR or ILS navigation, as well as tech and navigation. Below that we have even more INS selector switches, as well as some stuff that's not implemented as of yet. And behind that we have the light controls for the different cockpit lights there are, as well as the engine starter panel, which we'll use in a moment. Anyway, that's all for the aircraft cockpit, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's an older aircraft, not too many systems in here, but I guess it's still enough to learn. Anyway, in the first thing we want to do, if you want to start up the aircraft, you want to set the parking brake, and if you don't do that, you probably will run over your ground crew, because the engine will push the aircraft a couple of meters forward on startup. Anyway, after that has been set, we go down to the starter panel. Let me zoom in on that a bit. And we want to turn on a couple of stuff. We want to turn on the fuel booster pump. We want to turn on the left and right tank pumps, And just as a small note, G means left and D means right in French, or I mean the abbreviation for left and right, obviously. Anyway, after that has been done, we can set the ventilation and ignition switch to either the left or right ignition circuit. Doesn't really matter. I guess you could alternate to wear them out evenly. And we get a lot of beeping. That's the master warning. We can cancel that by pressing the master warning like up here. And after it has been counted down in the cockpit here, we can open our starter button and we hold that down. And then we wait for the engine N1 to increase to 10%, which we will reach now. And at the same time we will move the throttle forward a bit. And as you can see on the N1 indicator, the engine is starting to accelerate. More warnings we can silence. And now we just wait for the engine to spool up. And yeah, after the engine has spooled up, we can close down the canopy to the first level a bit, so we can get some still can get some fresh air without having the canopy wide open. And even if we have set the parking brake, the aircraft moved forward a bit. Probably a small bug they need to fix. Anyway, continuing, we go down here and we turn on the main battery switch. And note, we didn't need that for the startup of the aircraft. Setting the ignition switch to the left to right ignition circuit is enough. And that's how it's supposed to be in the real aircraft as well. So that's fine. Anyway, let's turn on the boost transfer switch as well as alternator 1 and alternator 2. And after that has done, we can now enable the emergency hydraulic pump, which will remove the last important warning light. Then we can close the canopy fully, which eliminates the canopy warning, and we can release the parking brake. And now we are pretty much good to go. I mean, we can turn off or can turn on the HUD at this point, which is a very sensible point to do. And as a small note, you also have to enable the nose wheel steering, similar to the A10, else you won't be going anywhere, and that is done by pressing insert on your keyboard. And after the nose wheel steering has been enabled, you're good to taxi out, taxi the runway and take off. And we will take a look at that stuff in the following video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did, and let me know if you didn't, obviously, so I can improve things. And yeah, fly safe, and see you in the next video.